Joshua Zirkzee praises the impact of Ruud van Nistelrooy's coaching. More updates emerge on Old Trafford's redevelopment. Xavi Simons might want to leave Germany next season. Kerkez is linked to United again. And scouts have been to watch Dortmund and RB Salzburg. This plus all the latest Manchester United news and transfer news that will keep you right up to date with everything. Welcome to Man United Review. My name's Jamie. Before we get into it, please smash a like on the video. And let's jump straight on into it. So let's kick off with Ruud van Nistelrooy's impact. So Joshua Zirkzee has done an interview recently where he's heaped a lot of praise on Ruud's impact. So when he was asked about what it's like working with Van Nistelrooy, he said, "I want to keep it a secret. It's great. He's been a striker. Detailed work, watching footage, looking back." The way he works with you, that's very important. I can relate to that, and you can learn a lot from him. And I was only speaking to my brother-in-law the other day, actually, about the positivity of the coaching setup and specifically Ruud van Nistelrooy. So it's nice to kind of hear Joshua Zirkzee kind of coming out praising him as well, saying that the work that he does or that is doing behind the scenes is really, really impactful and really kind of really good, and it's just another tick in the box for me. So I managed to find these quotes as well. These were from Jared Branthwaite, who played under Ruud van Nistelrooy at PSV. So these are from a couple of years ago when he was saying, yeah, he's given me little pointers, especially watching the analysis of games back. He would get me in the office and tell me things I could do, body shape, how to defend in behind, how to defend short, and it helped me massively. So it's not just Ruud van Nistelrooy's impact on necessarily strikers, as good as that's going to be, because obviously that's how he made his bread and butter, but also defenders. And this isn't the first story that I've brought to you regarding people behind the scenes saying how well Ruud van Nistelrooy is doing and how he also has a massive impact on not just, as I mentioned, the forwards, but also the defenders as well, because obviously he knows the tricks of the trade, being a top quality striker that he was. I was so excited when Ruud van Nistelrooy joined, not just because of the nostalgia, but reportedly he is an excellent coach. And as I mentioned, I was speaking to my brother-in-law about his impact the other day, saying, I wonder how much of a positive impact or that Ruud's having on the players and the forwards. And we are creating chances a little bit better this season as well than we were last season. So when you hear comments like that from the players themselves, it shows what an impact I think he's having behind the scenes. And we're only going to get stronger and get better the more time he has with players. And hopefully we can start seeing that kind of develop on the pitch. I think there's already signs there of the impact that he's having behind the scenes. And obviously it's nice to hear players come out and kind of praise the work that he's doing with the coaching, obviously video analysis and stuff like that as well. So, and imagine what he can potentially do with Rasmus Højlund now that he's back as well. So massively excited. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Ruud van Nistelrooy, because I think he is having a big impact behind the scenes. As I mentioned, this isn't the first time we've heard a story praising Ruud van Nistelrooy and the work that he's doing around the place. So massively exciting. It's really exciting that the fact that some of the signings that we've made under Ineos, not just the players, because I think we had a really good transfer window with some of the players, and I'm massively excited for the ones that we've brought in, but also everything behind the scenes as well. It's been really, really impressive, and long may it continue. I mean, obviously getting Dan Ashworth, Omar Barada, Jason Wilcox, these specialists in place, Ruud van Nistelrooy, René Hack, they've got a new goalkeeping coach, they've got new physios, new doctors, everything going on around Man United at the moment, for me, is just a massive positive. So long may it continue. But yeah, just wanted to give a shout out to Ruud, because it's nice when you hear players actually kind of praising what is going on behind the scenes. But let me know what you think about that in the comments. Let's go through a few transfer stories. So first one I'm going to bring you is coming from TNT Sports in Brazil, where they're claiming that Manchester United is still tracking Atalanta midfielder Edison. We've been linked with him multiple times through the summer, going back I think to even last summer as well, like the summer before. He was definitely a player of interest, really good player. Obviously next summer, Ericsson's potentially going to be going, well, we'll be going because he's out of contract. There's no indication we're going to give him an extension or do anything with his contract, so he's going to be gone. I still think they're going to want to move on Casemiro because of the wage and age. Edison would be a good option to come in. Really good player. Be interesting to see how that one develops. Would he be a little bit overpriced or a little bit more expensive? Because we are obviously heavily linked with a lot of young up-and-coming players. Not that Edison's particularly old, but with the price range that Atalanta may want. But definitely one to keep an eye on. He is definitely a player of interest. I'd put him up there with, Jared Branthwaite's going to be one to watch, I think, next summer as well, because there was clear interest. We made bids for him this summer, and I don't think that that's going to necessarily go away. Edison was one that we were very, very heavily linked with going for as well. So I'd put him with the maybe Branthwaite is definitely like one to watch for next summer. But let me know what you think in the comments. Now, another one that could be one to watch for next summer, similar to Edison, similar to Branthwaite as well, was a player that we were massively linked with this summer, which was Xavi Simons. So Fabrizio Romano has come out saying that Manchester United contacted PSG before the Euros to ask about the situation of Xavi Simons, although they never really started a negotiation with the player. With the player's preference is to return back to Germany, but the expectations is to try something new in the summer of 2025. So Romano kind of confirming there that Manchester United did inquire about Xavi Simons in the summer with PSG, probably when we were in negotiations with Ugarte. But that the player's preference was to go back to Germany, and obviously he's signed again on loan to RB Leipzig. Was a player, though, that we were massively, being linked with, rumoured to be interested in. Obviously has a connection with Ruud van Nistelrooy, with him playing under him under PSV when he was manager as well. And interesting that Romano was also saying that next summer, so the summer 2025, Simons might not want to play in Germany again and might want to move somewhere else. Obviously, there'll be a lot of interest in him if he continues his development this season, but that could be another one, because we were interested in him a lot this summer. Would we go back in for him possibly next summer? So could we put Simons along with maybe Branthwaite and Edison as the ones to watch list for next summer potentially? Because, there's never any smoke without fire. And if we were interested and he is a player that we were potentially looking for, then who knows, maybe he is going to be a player that we would look at going forward. I rate Simons. I think he's a fantastic player. I would take him at United in a heartbeat. I think he'd offer something a little bit different, versatile, where he can play in multiple positions as well. But yeah, definitely one to keep an eye on. But let me know what you think about Simons in the comments. Now, another player who probably fits into that mold as well, player we were linked with in the summer, Kerkez at left back. I think it was Romano that kind of name dropped him as a player that Manchester United are interested in. Now, this story came, I read it in the Manchester Evening News. It was from Team Talk. I read the article on Team Talk as well. It was more of a Liverpool story, I've got to be honest with you, though, where it said, so the report says, according to a report from Team Talk, both Liverpool and Manchester United are interested in signing Bournemouth left back Milos Kerkez, the 20-year-old who joined the Cherries from AZ Alkmaar for £15.5 million last summer, has adjusted to life in the Premier League and has emerged as one of their most consistent performers. So again, Kerkez, like Edison, like Branthwaite, like Simons, definitely a player that we've monitored and we're interested in, because, as I mentioned, the main stories coming from him were, or the more credible stories were from Romano in the summer, saying that he's a player United are interested in. I still have my doubts about Kerkez. I don't know if it's just because of the play style. He is a good player, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if I would prefer him over some of the other left backs that we've been linked with recently. But interesting option. But like I said, Team Talk are not the most credible. They're a rumor gossip outlet. And when I read the report, it was more kind of heavily suggesting that Liverpool might be going for him because of their need for a left back as well, and also just name dropped United because we know he is a player of interest of ours as well. But I don't know how I feel about Kerkez. I think he's, maybe there is potential there. Maybe him being a bit kind of harsh. I don't know if I rate him as highly as some of the other left backs though that we've been linked with. But obviously Premier League proven, still young, still got that kind of development in him. So maybe the scouts and people at United obviously know a lot more than I do, but definitely an interesting option. So there's a few players there where we've been linked with again, that we were heavily linked with this summer just gone as potential moves for 2025. But I would say take a few of those stories with a pinch of salt, because there's not really too much news going on, because there's that much games we're playing. I don't know whether this is just media attention, bringing up old stories to try and generate views and generate clicks and stuff, or if the interest is genuine. But 4 players there potentially. That are definitely players of interest. Edison, I think Branthwaite will definitely be one we'll be looking at next summer. Kerkez and maybe Xavi Simons. I mean, that wouldn't be a bad window, would it? Already, I think that would be a great window for next summer. But we'll need to see how it develops, because obviously a lot can change between now and next summer as well. But let me know what you think about those stories in the comments. Obviously, we brought you news yesterday with some injury updates with Rasmus Højlund and Mason Mount back in full first team training. Ten Hag said in his press conference that they need to assess them today to see whether they'll make the squad for the match tomorrow. But another player who could be close to coming back soon is Lenny Yoro. So the Muppeteers, who's a good source, said Lenny Yoro won't be back until closer to the next international break, or after potentially. The club won't rush players back like last year. The next international break's only 3 weeks away. So, that's a positive as well. You forget, like Lenny Yoro, forget how young he is. Only 18. I was watching, doing some research today, and you forget that he's actually younger than Garnacho, younger than Mainu, younger than Toby Collier. Do you know what I mean? All these players that we're kind of bigging up and wanting in the squad, and Lenny Yoro is younger than all of those. So you do forget that he is only 18 years old. But be massively exciting to have him back, because I think the more options we have in and around the first team, the better it's going to be. It's going to be a frantic season. We need a squad. And I already think that Ten Hag's got some really good headaches up front and in certain positions now. Like the squad, does anyone else feel this? Let me know if you do in the comments. Anyone else feel that the squad is actually in a pretty decent position? Yes, there's improvements we need to make, but that's more replacements for the players that we've got. But when I say the squad, what I mean is there's options around all of a sudden, because you're thinking of this weekend, for example. Obviously, Zirkzee could play up front, but Rashford did really well up front midweek. So could you play Rashford, Garnacho, and Ahmad, or do you play Zirkzee, Rashford, Garnacho? Do you know what I mean? There's 4 players there, all vying for like 3 positions, and then if you throw Højlund into that as well, do you know what I mean? That's another conundrum. Then you've got obviously Mount coming back, Mainu in the team, Bruno. Do you know what I mean? There's all of a sudden there's a few headaches around the place, which is really good. The only place we don't really have that is left back, because both of our first choice left backs, or Luke Shaw and Tyrone Malacia, are both still injured, which was an area of the pitch that I was massively concerned about in the summer. But yeah, it's a nice headache for the manager to have anyway. But does anyone else feel like that? Let me know in the comments if you're kind of, feeling a bit more confident around the squad depth that we have this year. But yeah, let me know below if you feel that way. And then obviously it did brought you news that there's been a lot of talk over the last few days regarding the future of Old Trafford. And there's been a few more updates from today. So this came from Manchester United's official website, where they're saying world-renowned global architecture studio Foster & Partners is set to be appointed by Manchester United to develop a master plan for the Old Trafford Stadium district, covering the club's owned land that surrounds the existing stadium. The focus will be to design a world-class football destination and home for Manchester United fans, coupled with a wider master plan comprising mixed-use developments, which will benefit the local community, attract new residents, increase job provision, and make it a vibrant destination for visitors from Manchester, the UK, and all around the world. So that's the key with the kind of Old Trafford development, is they don't just want to do the stadium, they want to build like an infrastructure around fan zones, restaurants, bars, hotels, all of that stuff, and totally reinvent the area around Old Trafford. I don't know if you've been there, but it is quite a derelict, kind of old sort of area as well. So they're trying to reinvent the whole place. So it isn't just about the stadium. It's also about the whole area around it as well. And then they also went on to say that the exercise will include substantial engagement with fans, community members, local authorities, and the Old Trafford Regeneration Task Force, whose feedback and insights will be imported into the master plan design. So they're still obviously, pushing ahead. I think this will move quite quick once a decision's made, which is meant to be at the end of the year. Samuel Lucker has confirmed that as well, saying Sir Jim Ratcliffe wants United's new intended stadium to be one of the biggest in Europe, and plans are set to be submitted before the end of the year. So biggest in Europe, we know he wants a 100,000 seater stadium. Interesting update from that, though, was from the Muppeteers. He was saying that there was that he felt there was no coincidence that in the pre-season, we went obviously back to the States and played football in a lot of new super stadiums. So whether that was part of the kind of scouting or part of the kind of the idea to go and have a look at those stadiums, play in them, have a feel for the atmospheres and stuff as well. So, the more likely thing I said in yesterday's video is that I think they're gonna, build a new stadium, play at Old Trafford until that one's built, move over to the new one, and then knock Old Trafford down and then redevelop the area around. That seems to be the most likeliest outcome at the moment. But yeah, really, really interested. Let me know what you think about it in the comments, though, below. Right, and then let's go move on to the last story. So, Manchester United scouts have been busy. So this first story was from Caught Offside, who I would say take with a pinch of salt, because it wasn't from one of their most credible journalists. However, they were saying that Manchester United had scouts present to watch Dortmund against Bruges last night, with Jamie Gittens stealing the show. It was not immediately clear who these clubs might be watching. It may be that Gittens was not initially on their radar, though one imagines he surely will be now. So in the report, it was basically saying that United and Arsenal had scouts at the Dortmund Bruges game the other night, and it wasn't kind of suggested who they were scouting. There was no name to suggest who they were specifically there scouting. However, Jamie Gittens was a player that had a really good game. I'll give you his kind of profile in that in a second. And effectively the report was saying that because United scouts were there and he stood out as had a really good game, that he'll be one that potentially caught the eye of the scouts as well. So who is he? So Jamie Gittens, 18-year-old right-footed winger, can play on the right and the left. He's had a very similar career path to Jadon Sancho, started at City and then left to go to Dortmund. 5 appearances, 4 goals this season. As I mentioned, 18 years old, so definitely would fit the mold of being young, up and coming. It's been compared to Nico Williams, if you're into that sort of thing. That kind of direct, that kind of quick, direct, explosive kind of player. Nico Williams is a player I would love to see at United, but would be expensive, not just in transfer fees, but also wages as well. He's on an absolute wedge at his club at the moment. Looks a really exciting prospect. I just have real reservations about signing Dortmund players because, Kagawa, Mkhitaryan, Jadon Sancho didn't exactly work out very well for us. So I'm very skeptical about buying Dortmund players based on that. I know you shouldn't judge, the players from where they've come from, and every player is different, but we haven't had a good record of signing players from Dortmund specifically. But obviously there is a Jason Wilcox link there as well. Jason Wilcox coming from City's academy. He's obviously now at United, so there is a little bit of a link there as well, other than the fact he had a good game and he is a potential player that can develop and is really highly regarded. But again, going back to the report, it did say that they were there scouting. They're not necessarily Jamie Gittens, so I'll say take it with a pinch of salt for now. But because he had a good game, he's probably going to be a name that the scouts would have been impressed by. But let me know what you think about that in the comments. And then this came from, it was Football News, but it was in the Manchester Evening News. So they were so the claims from Football News claim that United's scouts travelled to Prague to watch RB Salzburg players they admire. The Austrians lost to Sparta Prague 3-0 in yesterday's Champions League match. It is unclear who the scouts may have been watching. And then the report goes on to say, so the report says that scouts regularly attend Salzburg matches and that United might not have been the only club there. The likes of Samson Beidou, Oscar Gulek, and right winger Adam, I think it's an Adam Dangim, as possible Anthony replacement, are names most linked with the European outlets. Sorry if I butchered some of those pronunciations as well. So I've done a quick, not players I've heard of, not players that I've watched loads of. Samson Badu, 20-year-old centre-half. Oscar Gluck is a 20-year-old attacking midfielder, apparently highly regarded, Israeli. And then And then Adam Dangham is an 18-year-old centre forward who's Danish. So our scouts have been working really hard by the sounds of things. So there's a couple of reports. One, scouting Dortmund. Secondly, scouting RB Salzburg. That's got Christopher Vivell written all over it, hasn't it? Obviously, he came from the RB group. And I like the idea that we are looking and scouting already for future talents. With the new recruitment set up, we know full well from a update I bought you the other day that was saying that United had put in some of their budget away to go and buy some unknown hidden gems as well. So I'm massively excited for the future of United are going to actually start. Well, not that we haven't been scouting these players. We've always scouted players. We've just never listened to the scouts. We've always just tried to buy the finished article. But now that we've got actual people that will listen to the scouts and will maybe take a chance on one on two, kind of unknown gems, it's massively exciting for me, and I'm here for that all day. But let me know if you know more about the players that we've just mentioned there in the comments. Don't forget to smash a like on the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I will see you in the next one.